I think I'm going to try and invent well, I guess there are booms, but...
I mean, you're just done? You're done with that, basically, that apparatus?
But yes! Okay, she's going back up.
She's going in, guys.
Alrighty.
Don't mind me. Okay.
Hailee, it's a pretty good time for you, I would say.
It's not bad.
I mean,
Not
holiday
bad.
seasons are always fun, but when you have two beloved, ginormous blockbuster movies about to open,
Yes.
that's icing on the cake.
It sure is.
Okay, so we've been talking for years, and I did the
Yes.
math. The scary math is
Oh, no.
that I've been talking to you, I think, since you were 13 years old.
Oh boy.
Clearly, I started when I was 18, so like that was super young. That
Right,
explains
right.
the math of this. But the thing I remember, like when I first started talking to you, and of course that was for True Grit, you seem to like have it all together to a degree that most
Oh, boy.
13-year-olds did not.
Okay.
At least I didn't.
Great.
Were you just faking it till you made it? Like, what do you remember about your state of mind way back when kind of the first big break hit?
I think I did have it all together then. Now I look at my 13-year-old self and laugh because I'm not quite sure how I did it. But yeah, I know. I think I guess everything I was doing was so surreal and just insane and amazing, and it was a first for everything. Every interview I did, every place I traveled to, it was all new. So I just was a little 13-year-old bopping around, living my best
enjoying it.
life. Yeah.
Yeah, but what was the insane high point? I mean, obviously it culminated in the Oscar nomination, which has to be
Yes.
probably one of the high points,
Absolutely.
if not the high point. But,
Yeah.
But do you remember like a surreal, was it a specific talk show or celebrity or moment that really like knocked you back at the time?
There's a lot just came to mind.
Yeah.
Of course, the Oscars, being at the Oscars was enough, let alone being nominated. I remember finding out I got the part. That was one thing. Filming the movie was its own thing. I mean, I won right then and there. That was everything I could have ever asked for. But I remember at the premiere for the movie in LA, I met Justin Timberlake. And that was a high point.
Oh, is this real?
Yeah, no, that was a high point, and I let him know that was. It was a very strange conversation. It was this moment of. It wasn't any like crazy kind of premiere. It was more of a screening, if you will. And I'd just watched the movie with my family was there, and we were walking out of this theater, and Justin Timberlake's there, and he's like wearing a beanie, and he looks great, but he's kind of like flying under. And so he walks out, and it was like kind of there was this staircase, and then this room that was kind of like I don't know, people were just chatting in this sort of
low key
room
mingling.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm freaking out that Justin Timberlake's there, and I'm like, I gotta go up to him. I can't do it. There's no way. I can't do it. What am I gonna say? Where am I gonna start? And then I was like, he did just watch an hour movie that I was in, so he'll know it's me. Like,
There's a reference point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So I see him across the room, and I'm like, I gotta do it. I'm gonna do it. Mom, hold my back. I beeline to Justin Timberlake, and he sees me, and before I could say anything, he was like, you were so great in the movie. And I literally was like, oh, thanks so much, thanks, that's so cool, yeah, thanks, and he goes, so are you so excited? I mean, this is insane. And he's like, and for whatever reason, don't know where this came from, but out of my mouth flew, I don't really care about the movie, I'm just more excited that you're here. And that was my first time meeting Justin Timberlake, so.
And since then, have you had classy interactions with him since? Are you guys okay?
Yeah, no, we're good.
You're good.
We haven't talked
He hasn't kept
about
his
that.
distance?
I don't know that he fully recalls that moment as much as I do.
Right.
Just because that was like, oof.
To be fair, he probably has like a dozen more embarrassing interactions than that every day.
Fair enough.
So hopefully this won't embarrass you, but I did go through the archives, so we went all the way back.
Oh, God.
This wasn't a chat I had with you, but this was a chat, I think it happened the day after you were nominated for the Oscars by my friends at MTV.
Okay. Oh,
so let's take a
no.
look at Hailee back then.
Hailee Steinfeld in True Grit.
I went from being dead asleep to hearing my
Oh my
parents,
God.
like, yelling in the other room, thinking like somebody broke into the house. Like it was all so surreal. Like
First of all,
I
I'm wearing my
literally had to, like,
Invisalign, which is a
say
bad
to
thing to
myself,
do in
"This is not a
interviews."
dream, this is
See, I wouldn't have
real, and
noticed.
It's crazy. I need to check with my parents what being nominated for an Oscar is. My boy. I still have to do chores. I still have to go home and clean my room and do all the typical, teenage stuff I guess.
This is not. No.
I grew up watching the Oscars for the red carpet, to see what everybody's wearing. And I always wish that I would be on the red carpet. I haven't really had a lot of time to think about what I'm gonna wear. I don't really have a specific idea. I think, once I see a bunch of options and, I'll be able to kind of picture
Still
it
as
and see.
indecisive as I was then. So
Something's
that's
gonna
great.
change there.
One of my friends actually told me that Justin Bieber tweeted about me. And that was really exciting. It was very sweet. Should I get a Twitter?
This packs it all in, doesn't it?
I think Justin thinks I should, but I don't know. I have to think about it.
Wait, what did I have to think about getting a Twitter?
Yeah, you hadn't had a Twitter.
That's right.
So Bieber apparently inspired your Twitter at the time.
Man, if only I had one then. How my life might be different.
So that was a little traumatic, clearly.
Yeah, but
So what strikes you watching that? You mentioned the Invisalign. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you watch 13? Or I guess you were 14 by then.
oh god, that's even worse. Yeah, first the Invisalign.
Right.
I think maybe at one point I thought I sounded cool with it in. Turns out that's not the case.
Okay.
Second, what was I talking about? What am I going to wear to the Oscars?
You were talking about that. And,
okay.
And also keeping it real. What are you going to still have to do the household chores?
Oh,
Has anything
sure.
changed?
Fair enough. Right. Well, funny thing is, no, but I'm never home.
Right.
Therefore,
That's an easy way out.
it's
Smart
easy way out.
actor.
I don't have to have it. Last time I filled my dog's water bowl, it's been a while. But yeah, that's funny.
You also, of course, credited back then. Bieber was trying to get you on Twitter. Of course, you are very much on social media now,
Yes.
so we can thank Justin for that.
There you go.
In the intermittent years, I mean, everybody's had their ups and downs with social media. Have you ever been tempted to just delete your social media account? Has it ever been like, whatever, everybody gets some hate, everybody gets some crap?
I mean, I think not entirely. Like deleting the app off my phone every now and then is something I find
Right. Just a
tempting.
little too wed to it,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. But no, not altogether.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten that far yet.
Let's not go crazy. There was, I mean, I noticed actually, funnily enough, after True Grit, there was a bit of a gap for you. Like
Yeah.
you took a second, and was that a conscious decision? Like, this is such an opportunity, I need to kind of steer my career in the right way, or were you overwhelmed, or just give me a sense of where you were at then?
It was definitely a conscious decision. It was all about, where do I go from here? Where do
Yeah.
I go from here that makes sense? How do I find and without comparing, obviously, but how do I find another part that's going to challenge me the way this does?
Right.
So yeah, a year went by, maybe a little bit more than that, until I did Romeo and Juliet. That was my second film.
Right.
And of course, that was the perfect challenge then. Of course, probably would be now. But yeah, conscious decision, and definitely took that time to really figure it out.
And jumping ahead, talking about challenges, congratulations again on Bumblebee, because
Thank you.
it's such a fun movie. And I know you're hearing this a lot from people, like, people love the Transformers movies. A lot of people are saying this is the most entertaining, and I think I might vote that way as well. This one
Thank
just
you.
works in a different way than the other Transformers
you.
movies do. Biggest challenge for something like this? Because you were in Ender's Game, which was a huge effects laden movie.
Right.
Is it a different kind of level, different kind of thing on this one?
Much different. In fact, I kind of, at the beginning of making Bumblebee, I was kind of trying to figure out what was harder. With Ender's Game, it was all in front of a green screen, but I had an amazing ensemble cast.
Right.
With this one, it's all real world, very little green screen, but just nothing, no person or robot for that matter. So it was kind of that debate I had with myself where I was like, what's harder, being, in front of a green screen with people or in the real world with nothing, no people? They're both difficult for their own specific reasons, but being with Transformers, being in the real world, having every element except the one that actually might matter the most is quite difficult.
One of the cool things about this, and I'm sure some of you take pride in, is the first female protagonist of a Transformers film. And there's like a storied history. I mean, there obviously, you go back, Megan Fox and Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, et cetera, like, actors with great presences, but different kinds of choices for those characters. Tell me about sort of the pride you take, or sort of like what that evolution means to you, means to living in 2018, 2019 for young actresses today.
Absolutely. I mean, it's an honor to be a part of a franchise that is so huge, and that means so much to so many people around the world. But to play this particular role and to be able to tell our own kind of Transformer story is really what is so special. I remember reading the script and feeling like this is yet another, what feels like an honest portrayal of a young female growing up. And regardless of the era, we all go through the struggles of feeling misunderstood and unseen and unaccepted. And that's what this character is, and she overcomes every obstacle she's faced with by the end of the movie, and it's just amazing to see a young girl who is normal, no special powers, overcome everything she's faced with.
Your character turns 18 in the film. What was the biggest birthday for you thus far in your life? Was there one that meant a lot to you?
21, actually. So funny, because I was in New York right after my birthday, and the day, my birthday was like on a Monday or something. We were right in the middle of right at the end, the very end of the Pitch Perfect press tour.
Mm-hmm.
So on my actual birthday, we were junketing in LA or something. And that night, my family like surprised me with this beautiful dinner, and it was really special and really sweet. And afterwards, I was kind of like, it was so, I was so tired, and I was like, all I really wanted to just be with my family and maybe like not do anything. But at the same time, I was like, wow, that's my 21st birthday. God, I'm not gonna turn 21 again. It was like a dinner. That was fine. Thanks, Mom and Dad. You know what I mean? But, and I
Where's
came
Justin
to
Timberlake? Come on, guys.
Exactly. So I came to New York, finished up, went back to LA, and my brother, my family threw this crazy surprise party that I literally had no idea. And for somebody that I'm not.
It's hard to surprise you.
Yes.
You're
yes.
in it. You're.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But even thinking back on it now, like everyone in my life was like in on this surprise and somehow managed to pull it off. And by the way, like there were people that blew it along the way, and it still went right over my head. So there's that. But
You were distracted by a press tour,
exactly.
to be fair. One of the things I love about this movie is it's an ode to the 80s. It's, I grew up in the 80s, so I love all this stuff. It's got an amazing soundtrack, which
Yes.
you're a part of. You contributed a song to, which I know you're excited about. So I know you've now probably have a new appreciation about 80s culture.
Yeah, of course. I do. I think, obviously there's the 80s that I feel maybe my generation knows them to be the high-waisted jeans and the scrunchies and the leg warmers and the neon and that kind of, right? That there's that 80s image that I think a lot of us have. But being able to really dive in and explore the world of the 80s and immerse myself into that world, having the soundtrack as my sort of direct connection into it, and having a world that Travis Knight created that felt so real and authentic that I never felt weird, I never felt out of place, I never felt confused. Everything just felt so authentic.
Sure.
And he was a child of the 80s. He was a fan of the toys, the Transformer toys. So he was really, truly bringing a story to life that he has dreamed of forever, and was so passionate about it. So it meant so much to him for everything to feel real.
Yeah.
And thankfully, it did for me.
Do you have a favorite 80s film now? When you look back, is there something that personifies the 80s for you?
Oh man, there's so many. It's referenced in this film. The Breakfast Club is one of them.
Yeah.
There's literally, I don't even know where to begin.
No, that's a good one. That's a good one to go with. John Hughes is always a good one to go with. All right, so I want to test your knowledge of 80s film. Okay? I'm going to give you some summaries of films that could or could not be real. You tell me if it's an actual 80s film or not. All right? Is this really an 80s film or not? A man meets and falls in love with a mermaid. 80s film? Did I just make it up?
Well, if you didn't, I don't know what it is.
That's Splash. You should check out Splash.
Oh, okay. Amazing.
You're going to walk out of here with a whole list of movies to watch.
I am. Definitely, by the way, my list is very long.
That's okay. It's okay. A group of teenagers
Yes.
protect a robot monkey from evil government agents. Was that an 80s film, or did I just make that up?
You made that up.
I did make it
Yay!
up.
Oh
But
my
what a
god,
great-
I was like, it sounds like a weird take on Stranger Things, minus the monkey.
What a great movie, though. A teenager starts a prostitution business in his own house when his parents are away.
Oh my god.
You got it. It's there.
Oh my god.
Tom Cruise is running around in
It
his
was
underwear.
risky business,
You
risky
got it.
business.
She got
I knew
it,
it,
guys.
I knew it,
Everything's
I knew it,
fine.
I knew it,
Everything's
I knew it.
okay. Let's move on. This is your first time as the true face of the ginormous franchise. That's again. Do you just put that out of your mind once you're doing the work, or?
It doesn't really cross my mind when I'm doing it. Honestly, it's now when you drive through Times Square and there's a billboard the size of my house. I mean, not even. It's much larger than that. It's kind of those moments that kind of put it into perspective.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the funny thing is, way back when, if you look at a lot of our early conversations, you were in the middle of the whole Hunger Games thing at the time.
Whoa.
That was the weird thing that was going on. I mean, I'm sure you remember it.
Yeah,
During
of
that
course.
Oscar stuff you were in the mix, and it clearly almost could have been you too.
Right.
Was it hard for you at the time? I'm just curious. It's hard for any young person to go through teenage years. When you're seeing a movie you wanted to be in on the big screen with somebody else, was that weird or tough for you at the time?
That sort of thing is always a bit weird because this is a strange thing to compare it to, but it's almost like the idea or the thought of wanting to remake one of your favorite movies. It's like you could never do that because watching Jennifer Lawrence in The Hunger Games is come on.
Yeah, no.
There was.
Yeah.
I'm a very firm believer in everything happens for a reason.
Right.
That was a whole experience for me. Yeah, you know, in itself, just auditioning for that, getting very close, and you know, falling in love with something, and you know, realizing that not everything's there to stay. You gotta continue to prove yourself and
Right.
work for what you love. But by the way, not only is she like one of my favorite people on the planet, one of my favorite movies ever.
Right.
And I watched that, and nobody could have done what she did in that film. So I mean.
And who knows, being wed to that, I don't know if the Pitch Perfect opportunities would you would have
Fair
time
enough,
for that and
that's
the
just
music and all
that's,
of it.
That's just it. It's like, you know, starting with like even just genre-wise, starting at 13 with a Western. Like never ever thought I'd be in a Western, right? Let alone then Shakespeare and then sci-fi and then Pitch Perfect,
Yep.
which then led to the singing. And yeah, I mean, who knows? That's what's so crazy about thinking back on things.
And animated films, we need to mention Spider-Man, which everybody is obsessed with, rightfully so. It's amazing. You're Gwen Stacy in that one, Spider-Gwen. Again, when you get involved in that one, did it hit you sort of like the significance of that? Because this movie means a lot to people beyond just being an entertaining film. The fact that it's Miles Morales, the fact that it's Gwen Stacy in this kind of a role.
Absolutely.
Were you aware of that kind of power at the time?
It's again one of those things where, of course, I had an idea. I knew that the creators, the producers, directors, and the other cast members, I knew they were involved. I knew it was something special. But
Right.
that's something that has taken place over the last 2 years. I was on tour when I was recording
Right.
for the film. I was working on Bumblebee. Even this show I'm working on now. I mean, this thing. It's been so much has happened in between the sessions that it's just kind of like. You do 30, 40 takes of one line, and that's over the course of 2 years. So it's like you come back to something and you're like, guys, I've already done this. And it's just like this sort of world that you're living in, and it's not until you see the final product that you realize what it is. I have yet to see the final,
Oh, wow.
you know, properly seen, you know.
Right.
You know.
But you need to see the,
Yeah.
it's the animation itself is just art. It's fantastic.
Beyond.
And it sounds like we're going to get to see you maybe in not one, but two more. Because they're saying the next sequel to this is Miles and your character.
Right,
But then
right.
there's also like a female ensemble-led film.
That's so I've heard. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's one of those things too. Looking back on the experience, I would love another opportunity to really fully just devote everything I've got to it
Yeah.
again. You know, no distractions. But it's an honor to be a part of something that is so visually stunning, but a story that I think a lot of people. I mean, this story is so relevant and so timely. And so real to so many people, and I feel lucky to be a part of it.
A couple other quick things I want to hit before I let you go. We haven't even barely talked about music at all, but like that's obviously such an important part of your life.
Yes.
We mentioned the fact that you have a song on the soundtrack here. Like, do you feel like you have almost like two different lives? Like, are you in two different modes when you go into music mode and acting mode?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of crazy because when it happened, it just sort of happened. There was no real plan set in place. Because I was simultaneously making movies and putting out singles. Obviously, an album has always been the end goal, but it's one of those things that can't put a date on it, keeps kind of
Right.
getting pushed. I make a movie and put it on hold, and I have to say that I finished this TV show that I'm working on in January, and I will then be devoting my time to music with nothing else lined up. So I'm excited to really finish what I started and consider myself in that mode.
Excellent. 2019, we'll talk again, but that's
Yes.
going to be the music year. That's going to be the year to focus on
Music year, that's right.
Excellent. And I can't wait to see Dickinson, by the way,
Thank
which I know
you.
you're working
Thanks
on.
so much. Me too. I've got no idea what it looks like, so it should be interesting.
It'll be good. Thanks as always for stopping by,
Of
Hailee.
course. Thank you.